What if your grandmother's kitchen held secrets that could get you arrested today? Not moonshine hidden in the cellar, but ordinary ingredients sitting right there on the counter, exposed items she used without a second thought that are now banned by federal law. The 1920s were a different world. Families gathered around tables covered in oilcloth, the smell of wood smoke drifting from cast iron stoves, and nobody questioned what went into their food. If it tasted good and kept you alive through hard times, you ate it, period. But here's what most people don't realize. At least 20 foods that sustained American families through the Roaring Twenties and the early Depression are now completely illegal. Some will make you laugh, some will make you cringe, and a few will make you wonder how anyone survived. If you enjoy discovering forgotten pieces of American history, hit that subscribe button now, because the last 5 on this list are genuinely disturbing. Here are 20 foods that were perfectly normal in the 1920s, but are illegal today. Number 20, candy cigarettes with real tobacco. Those little white candy sticks your parents bought at the corner store for a penny? The early versions weren't just shaped like cigarettes, some actually contained traces of tobacco. Kids as young as 5 practiced their smoking technique, holding them between tiny fingers, blowing powdered sugar, smoke, while imitating Humphrey Bogart. The packaging mimicked real brands perfectly. Parents thought it was adorable. When cancer research caught up with the tobacco industry in the 1950s, the versions with actual tobacco or nicotine flavoring were pulled from shelves. What was once innocent childhood play is now recognized as a troubling gateway to addiction. The FDA now regulates anything containing tobacco as a controlled substance. Number 19. Real sassafras root beer. That homemade root beer your grandfather brewed in the basement? The real stuff with actual sassafras bark? It's now a federal offense to sell it. A bottle cost 5 cents in 1920. Every corner drugstore soda fountain served it fresh. The smell alone, sweet and earthy with hints of anise, could transport you back to summer afternoons and screen doors banging shut. Hires built an empire on that distinctive flavor. Then, the FDA discovered saffrol, the compound that gives sassafras its signature taste, caused liver cancer in lab animals. By 1976, the ban was complete. Modern root beer uses artificial flavoring. Anyone who tasted the original will tell you, with absolute certainty, it is not the same. Number 18. Hydrogenated lard. This might surprise you. Lard itself isn't illegal, but the processed version in your grandmother's pantry, banned since 2018. For decades, Crisco and similar products were kitchen staples. Every flaky pie crust, every crispy fried chicken, every tender biscuit contained hydrogenated lard. That distinctive smell of warm shortening meant something delicious was coming. Women traded recipes by brand name. The problem was trans fats. In 2015, the FDA ruled partially hydrogenated oils were no longer generally recognized as safe. The Crisco your grandmother swore by has been completely reformulated. The shelf-stable shortening that defined American baking for 3 generations is gone from our food supply forever. Number 17. Beaver tail stew. Here's one that might make you chuckle, but frontier families took it dead serious. French-Canadian settlers considered beaver tail a genuine delicacy. The flat, fatty tail was roasted over open fires, yielding rich, gelatinous meat that provided crucial calories during brutal northern winters. The taste was reportedly similar to fatty pork, with a slight wild flavor. Catholic communities even classified beaver as fish, allowing consumption during Lent. This wasn't a joke, it was survival. Unregulated trapping nearly drove beavers to extinction. Today, selling beaver meat commercially requires licenses that are nearly impossible to obtain. Number 16. Traditional pemmican. A handful could keep you working all day. That's why Lewis and Clark packed it for their expedition. Indigenous peoples perfected this survival food over centuries. Dried meat pounded to powder, mixed with rendered fat, sometimes studded with berries. Properly made, it lasted years without refrigeration. Frontier settlers, trappers, and outdoorsmen adopted it as essential wilderness provisions. The problem? Traditional pemmican uses wild game processed outside USDA-inspected facilities. Today, selling uninspected meat products violates federal law. The survival food that kept explorers alive can't legally be sold at your local farmer's market. Number 15. Uninspected wild game. During the Depression, rural families lived by a simple code. If you can catch it, you can eat it. Squirrel, raccoon, opossum, rabbit, deer. These weren't exotic game, they were Tuesday night dinner. Children learned to skin rabbits alongside regular chores. The gamey flavors of wild meat, cooked in wood-burning stoves, defined home cooking for millions of Americans. One viewer's grandfather put it simply, "When we butchered a steer, we used everything but the moo." Today, USDA regulations prohibit commercial sale of uninspected wild game. You can still hunt and eat your own catch, but selling it without federal inspection is a crime. The self-sufficient lifestyle that sustained entire communities is now restricted by food safety laws. And speaking of things our grandparents ate without thinking twice, we haven't even gotten to the poisons yet. Those are coming. Number 14. Unpasteurized raw milk. Before electric refrigerators, milk came one way, straight from the cow into your glass. Warm, creamy, and completely unprocessed. Raw milk cost 8 cents a quart in 1925. Families drank gallons weekly. The cream rose to the top for butter and coffee. Children grew up on it without a second thought. The problem was tuberculosis, typhoid fever, brucellosis. By the 1920s, contaminated milk was killing thousands of Americans annually, especially in crowded cities. Pasteurization laws rolled out state by state through the 1940s and 1950s. Today, selling raw milk for human consumption is illegal in half of all states. The FDA prohibits its sale across state lines entirely. The days of dipping your cup straight into the milk pail, gone forever. Number 13. Pig's blood soup. In Polish, German, and Filipino immigrant kitchens, nothing from the pig was wasted, including the blood. Fresh pig's blood was collected during slaughter, mixed with vinegar to prevent clotting, and cooked into dark, hearty soups with onions and black pepper. The color was so dark, it looked almost black in the bowl, and the taste was earthy and iron-rich. Polish families called it zarnina. Filipinos called it dinuguan. Both considered it comfort food. The practice made sense when families butchered their own hogs. Blood spoils within hours. So thrifty housewives transformed it into meals that fed everyone. Modern regulations require blood to be collected under strict commercial conditions. Most home kitchens can't meet these standards. Grandma's blood soup is now restricted or illegal in most states. Number 12. Authentic Scottish haggis. Scottish immigrants brought their beloved haggis to America, and for generations, it anchored Burns' night suppers from Boston to Portland. The savory pudding of sheep organs mixed with oatmeal and spices was stuffed into a sheep's stomach and boiled until the casing swelled tight like a drum. The rich, peppery aroma filled the kitchen. Families gathered for the ceremonial cutting, while someone recited Robert Burns, dense, satisfying food that stretched meager ingredients into a family meal for about $1. Here's the catch. Traditional haggis contains sheep lung. In 1971, the USDA banned all lung tissue from commercial food due to contamination concerns during slaughter. Authentic haggis has been illegal to import or sell in the United States for over 50 years. Scottish purists will tell you American versions simply aren't haggis. Half a century of lobbying hasn't changed the regulation. Number 11. Shark fin soup. Wedding banquets in San Francisco's Chinatown weren't complete without it. A single bowl cost several dollars in the 1920s, equivalent to $40 today. The gelatinous fins had almost no flavor, but the silky texture was prized, and the symbolism of wealth made it essential for special occasions. Preparation took days, soaking and simmering dried fins until translucent. Families saved for months to afford it. Then the world learned about finning. Fishermen sliced the fins off live sharks and dumped the bodies back into the ocean. Unable to swim, the sharks sank slowly to the bottom, suffocating in the darkness. Populations collapsed within decades. Today, selling shark fins is illegal in at least 12 states, including California, New York, and Texas. What was once a symbol of prosperity became a symbol of environmental destruction. We're only halfway through this list, and we haven't even gotten to the truly disturbing ones yet. If you're enjoying this trip through America's forgotten foods, take a second to hit subscribe. The next 10 include poisons that pharmacists actually recommended, and a dish so secretive that diners hid their faces while eating it. Let's keep going. Number 10. The Green Fairy, absinthe. Artists and bohemians whispered about it in New Orleans jazz clubs and San Francisco speakeasies. The emerald green liquor with the licorice bite that supposedly made you see things. A glass cost 25 cents in 1910. The ritual was elaborate. Ice water dripped slowly over a sugar cube, balanced on a slotted spoon, the green liquid turning cloudy and mysterious. Regulars swore it opened their minds. Then, in 1905, a Swiss farmer named Jean Lanfray drank 2 glasses of absinthe, picked up his rifle, and murdered his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters. He tried to turn the gun on himself, but survived. The trial made headlines across 2 continents. Panic spread. The United States banned absinthe in 1912, and it remained illegal for 95 years. It was finally relegalized in 2007, but with strict limits on thujone, the compound blamed for hallucinations. Purists say the modern version is a pale shadow of what their great-grandparents sipped in those smoky back rooms. Number 9. Green Sea Turtle Soup. At the finest restaurants in New York and Washington, this was the ultimate status symbol. It appeared at presidential banquets, society weddings, and exclusive club dinners. The rich, gelatinous broth flavored with sherry cost more than a working man's daily wage. The meat was tender and distinctive, somewhere between veal and lobster. Commercial canning made it available to middle-class families by the 1930s, and demand exploded. That demand pushed green sea turtles to the brink of extinction. The Endangered Species Act of 1973 ended the trade completely. Today, killing, selling, or possessing sea turtle meat carries penalties up to $100,000 and a year in federal prison. That elegant soup course your great-grandparents enjoyed at their anniversary dinner would now be a serious felony. Number 8. Whale burgers. This wasn't exotic cuisine, it was practical. During both World Wars and the Depression, whale meat appeared in American butcher shops as cheap protein. When beef prices soared and ration stamps limited purchases, whale offered affordable calories. School cafeterias in coastal cities served whale burgers in the 1940s. The meat cost 15 cents per pound when beef was nearly double. Dense, dark red, almost like liver. Housewives learned to disguise the fishy taste with heavy seasoning. Industrial whaling nearly drove several species to extinction. The Marine Mammal Protection Act of 1972 made it a federal crime to hunt, sell, or consume whale meat, with penalties up to $20,000 and a year in prison. What was once a budget meal for struggling families is now a serious felony. Number 7. Fried sparrows and roasted larks. Your great-grandmother might have served a dozen of these without anyone batting an eye. In Italian-American and Eastern European immigrant communities, small songbirds were considered a delicacy, caught in nets, plucked, roasted, or fried in butter, and served whole. You ate them in just a few bites, bones crunching between your teeth. A dozen sparrows might cost a nickel during hard times, making them affordable protein when larger game was scarce. The Migratory Bird Treaty Act of 1918 made killing most native songbirds a federal offense. Today, fines run up to $15,000 per bird. What was once a common Sunday dinner in immigrant households would now bring the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service to your door. Number 6. Fried calf brain sandwiches. There's a sandwich that could land a restaurant owner in federal prison today, but your grandfather probably ate it at the county fair without thinking twice. In German-American communities throughout St. Louis, Cincinnati, and Milwaukee, brain sandwiches were as common as hamburgers. The Evansville, Indiana County Fair served them into the 1990s. Fresh calf brains were soaked in salt water, sliced thin, dredged in seasoned flour, and fried in hot lard until golden. The texture was creamy inside, almost custard-like, with a delicate flavor that paired perfectly with tangy mustard on white bread. A sandwich cost maybe 15 cents during the Depression. Then came mad cow disease. Bovine spongiform encephalopathy causes fatal brain damage in humans. Federal regulators banned the sale of beef brains and spinal tissue entirely. The USDA now classifies them as specified risk materials. Serving them commercially results in massive fines. A dish that fed working-class families for generations vanished almost overnight. We've reached the final 5. And I have to warn you, these aren't just illegal. These are the foods that make you wonder how our grandparents survived at all. We're talking about ingredients that came from whale intestines, drinks laced with actual rat poison, and one dish so disturbing that wealthy diners covered their faces while eating it. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Which of these last 5 will shock you most? Let's find out. Number 5. Ambergris puddings and custards. The rarest desserts in 1920s, America contained a secret ingredient that would make you gag if you knew where it came from. Ambergris, a waxy substance produced in sperm whale intestines, found floating in the ocean or washed ashore. It was worth more than gold by weight. A single ounce cost $50 in the 1920s, several hundred in today's money. Elite pastry chefs prized it for the musky, complex flavor it added to chocolate puddings, vanilla custards, and delicate jellies. The taste was subtle but transformative. Only the wealthiest families ever experienced it. When sperm whales gained international protection, everything derived from them became illegal to trade. Possessing ambergris in the United States now violates both the Endangered Species Act and Marine Mammal Protection Act. No amount of money can legally buy you an ambergris-flavored dessert in America today. That tradition died with the whaling industry. Number 4. Arsenic health tonics. This one should make you shudder. In the early 1900s, American drugstores sold tonics containing arsenic as health supplements. Fowler's solution, prescribed by actual doctors for everything from asthma to anemia, contained about 1% arsenic trioxide. People drank it daily. A bottle cost 50 cents. Advertisements promised rosy cheeks and boundless vitality. Women were especially targeted. Small doses of arsenic would make your skin luminous and your eyes bright. The metallic taste was masked with sugar and pleasant flavorings. Doctors recommended arsenic. The slow accumulation caused skin lesions, neurological damage, and cancer. As toxicology advanced through the 1930s and 1940s, arsenic was removed from consumer products entirely. Today, adding arsenic to any food or beverage constitutes attempted poisoning under federal law. What pharmacists once recommended to your great-grandmother would now be evidence in a criminal trial. Number 3. Strychnine digestive bitters. If arsenic wasn't disturbing enough, here's something worse. Patent medicines in the 1920s sometimes contained strychnine. Yes, the same compound used in rat poison. In tiny doses, it was believed to stimulate the nervous system and aid digestion. Products like Dr. Pierce's Pleasant Pellets included strychnine as a key ingredient. These bitters cost 25 cents per bottle and were taken before meals. The extremely bitter taste was considered proof of effectiveness. If it's this unpleasant, it must be medicinal. A few drops in water, and you were ready for dinner. Repeated exposure caused muscle spasms, convulsions, and respiratory failure. Even small doses accumulated dangerously. The Pure Food and Drug Act gradually eliminated strychnine from consumer products. Today, possessing it outside licensed rodent control is heavily regulated. The digestive aid your great-grandparents trusted would now require special handling permits as a toxic substance. Number 2. Ortolan bunting. This tiny songbird, no bigger than your thumb, represented the most forbidden luxury in early 20th century fine dining, and the ritual surrounding it was deliberately, almost theatrically, cruel. French cuisine introduced ortolan to wealthy Americans at exclusive dinner parties. The preparation was barbaric. Birds were captured, kept in total darkness, force-fed until they doubled in weight, then drowned alive in brandy before roasting. But here's the detail that haunts people. Diners traditionally covered their heads with napkins while eating. The entire bird was consumed in one bite, bones crunching, hot fat running down chins. The napkin supposedly concentrated the aroma. Others say it was to hide the act from God. France banned commercial ortolan hunting in 1999 after populations crashed. In the United States, killing or possessing the bird carries severe federal penalties. What was once the pinnacle of gourmet excess is now a symbol of culinary cruelty. Number 1. Radium chocolate and radium water. In 1925, you could walk into a drugstore in Chicago or Philadelphia and buy a box of chocolates laced with radium, the glowing radioactive element. Marketed as a health food, this wasn't fringe pseudoscience. This was a booming industry. Radium water, radium butter, radium toothpaste, radium suppositories. Companies charged premium prices, and wealthy Americans paid gladly. The faint glow was considered proof of quality. The sweet metallic taste meant it was working. The most famous product was Radithor, a radium water that cost about $1 per bottle, $15 today. Advertisements in the Saturday Evening Post promised liquid sunshine and eternal vitality. Eben buyers believed them. The Pittsburgh industrialist drank over 1,400 bottles. Then his jaw disintegrated. The radiation had accumulated in his bones. When he died in 1932, his skeleton was still radioactive. The Wall Street Journal headline read, "The radium water worked fine until his jaw came off." The Federal Trade Commission finally intervened, banning radium in all consumable products. Today, possessing radioactive materials in food would trigger investigations by Homeland Security, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, and the FBI simultaneously. Your great-grandparents could buy it at the corner drugstore for $1. 20 foods. Some were survival, some were luxury, and some were poison, sold by pharmacists who smiled while they handed it over. They weren't just meals. They were a window into an America that trusted labels, believed advertisements, and ate whatever kept the family alive through hard times. Each one tells a story about how far we've come and how much we've forgotten. Your great-grandparents ate radium for breakfast and washed it down with strychnine bitters. Most of them lived to tell about it. So tell me, which one shocked you most? And be honest, is there one you'd actually try if it were legal again? Share your answer in the comments below.